and welcome. I'm Joyce, and here's what happened this week. President Tsai is back home after a state visit to Eswatini. At the airport, Tsai said her trip showed Taiwan's dedication to playing a strong role in the international community.
那么，另外，透过这次的出访，我们再次向世界展现，即使台湾面临艰难的国际处境，但是我们依然选择脚踏实地的跟各国交朋友，用真诚和坚定做外交。
Tsai had been on a 4-day trip to Eswatini, marking 55 years of ties between Taiwan and its only remaining ally in Africa. While she was there, the two countries signed deals on funding women entrepreneurs and building a fuel storage facility. With its international space constantly squeezed by China, Taiwan has to work hard to keep its few remaining diplomatic allies. One of the ways it does this is by offering development aid, especially in healthcare. Ed Moon brings us this report from Eswatini.
Bringing expert medical care where it's most desperately needed. That's the goal behind this new facility in Eswatini, made possible through Taiwanese government expertise and funding. The referral and emergency complex at Mbani Government Hospital in Eswatini's capital is a prime example of how Taiwan looks to help its remaining diplomatic allies. An absolute monarchy, Eswatini is one of Africa's smallest nations, and it needs support from richer countries like Taiwan to make sure it can provide equitable services to its people. With a population of just over 1 million, it has one of Africa's highest rates of HIV/AIDS. Its ally, Taiwan, is a world leader in healthcare, thanks to excellent training and its national health insurance system, making it well placed to help in this area.
Today, with the support from Taiwan, we are at the hospital that will serve Eswatini for the next 100 years.
But while Taiwanese aid is welcome here, it's not the only country African states can turn to. China, which claims sovereignty over Taiwan and has steadily convinced most of the island nation's allies to switch diplomatic ties from Taipei to Beijing. In recent years, it has also massively expanded its footprint in Africa, offering major infrastructure projects and access to its market. That's something Taiwan can't compete with.
The Chinese come to the continent with a very different agenda. We're not here to tell you what to do. We're not here to give you aid and dependency and welfare. We want to do trade. We want to do business. We also want to build infrastructure.
Faced with the might of the world's second largest economy, it can seem Taiwan is fighting a losing battle to win friends for its aid programs. But there's more to these projects than just gaining influence. For local communities, such assistance can help bring real change that outlasts the uncertainties of geopolitics. John Su and Ed Moon in Mbami, Eswatini for TaiwanPlus.
Taipei hosted the world's largest chips expo this week, and several government representatives flew in for the occasion. This year, there was a strong showing from Europe, including the first chips delegation from the UK. I took a look at how they're strengthening ties with Taiwan. The biggest names in the semiconductor industry are in Taipei for the largest chips expo to date. It's a rare chance for stakeholders across the complex global supply chain to meet in person. Also here, government representatives from across the world, looking to stay in the know. As the brains behind all electronics, chips are essential in a digital world. That's the main reason why the US and China are competing over chip technology. That tension has caused others to look into building up their own capabilities. But it's clear that no one country can make chips on its own. European Union leaders are seizing this expo as a chance to reinforce key partnerships in Taiwan.
We are meeting here today to link European opportunities and needs with the capabilities and investment plans of Taiwanese companies.
Europe has a strong base in chemicals and equipment that support chip production, but its semiconductor industry relies heavily on partners outside the bloc. The EU is aiming to double its share of the global chip market by 2030, setting aside over 43 billion euros to that end. So far, their efforts appear to be working. Some high-profile chip giants, including the world's largest contract chip maker, TSMC, has said it plans to expand into Germany. The move would usher in other chip firms to invest there too, which would build on an existing partnership between Germany and Taiwan.
Germany and Taiwan, these two countries, they have complementary strength. In Taiwan, we have very strong positioning, IC design, IC manufacturing, packaging, testing. Germany or Europe, there are some very good material suppliers, tool vendors, key component suppliers, but lack of manufacturing capability. So you see that they could really help each other and work together.
Aside from Germany, some other players in Europe are also stepping up to ensure their position in the powerful and lucrative industry. For the first time ever, the UK has sent a semiconductor business delegation to Taiwan specifically for this expo. Though they may be a lesser-known part of the supply chain, British businesses are here to showcase their contributions to chip innovation.
We've brought 12 startups and about 7 or 8 large companies here. The UK's got really good strength in design and IP. We're recognised for our research and development activity with really good universities.
As each country works to build up its own technological might, conventions like this one serve as an opportunity to exchange information and bolster ties, while also being a reminder that progress can't be made alone. Alex Chen and Joyce Tseng for TaiwanPlus. Mobile chip company MediaTek has developed its first chip using semiconductor giant TSMC's advanced 3-nanometer technology. MediaTek's chipset is expected to hit the market next year. It's designed for use in smartphones and intelligent cars, among other devices. This is a breakthrough for the company, which outsources production of its designs. MediaTek now joins Apple in gaining access to TSMC's highly guarded 3-nanometer technology. Demand for these chips is expected to rise. Consumer prices in Taiwan are growing at the fastest rate in 2023 so far. Government figures show the August Consumer Price Index grew by 2.5%. That's the highest level since February. Officials say the rise is linked to greater demand for leisure activities, typhoon damage to local agriculture, and high international fuel prices. Analysts say those prices are likely to remain high, keeping inflation up through the rest of the year.
那既然我们今年这个最后几个月的这个油价一定会居高不下的情况之下，所以我们说大概整体台湾的这个消费者物价指数大概未来几个月会维持在2% 以上的水准。
Over 350 people in Taipei have been evacuated from their apartments. Nearby construction work is believed to have destabilized the buildings, causing them to lean. Residents say they had complained of cracks in the walls for months, but the city government said there was nothing to worry about. John Van Trieste has more.
People in this Taipei neighborhood came home to this on Thursday evening. Just after 8:30, the fire department got a call saying about 6 apartment blocks had started leaning, and some had partially collapsed. No one was hurt, but 367 people have been evacuated. Officials, including Taipei's mayor, have inspected the scene. He says a nearby construction project is to blame.
现场因为往下开挖3层，但是并没有马上做这个大体，所以造成现在目前了解是连续壁都破裂，所以我们即刻的用灌浆的方式让压力再把它撑回。
But to people in this neighborhood, none of this is news. Residents say they've seen cracks forming in their walls for months. They signed a petition 8 months ago to have someone look into the damage. The response wasn't what they expected.
他应该先来看一下，他没有看呢，就来了公文说无关。这一点我们觉得施工的就是管理单位啊，没有尽到责任。
City Councilor Chen Yijun says she's found this written response from the city. She also says even the evacuation order came later than it should have.
他们里面内部的工人赶快疏散，那已经疏散了半个小时之后，才通知这边的住户要疏散，所以这里的住户相当的生气，认为他们简直就是草菅人命。
The company behind the project, Kitai Properties, has apologized and stopped work. It says it's insured and will take responsibility. But as the damage is appraised, the people who live here are left to settle into hotel rooms and figure out what comes next. Joseph Wu and John Van Trieste in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
As Taiwan nears the end of Ghost Month, groups gathered in Taipei to pay tribute to victims of past government violence. Rick Lowett was there.
In the center of Taipei, people worship the spirits of the dead. Scenes like this are common during Taiwan's Ghost Month. But this ceremony is different. These activists are commemorating victims of government violence during a period known as the White Terror. Thousands of people were killed or disappeared during decades of oppression against political dissidents and critics.
Their spirit is not leaving this land because they got murdered or got killed by Chiang Kai-shek government.
The White Terror was carried out during the rule of former leader Chiang Kai-shek, who governed from 1949 until his death in 1975. Since it's become a democracy, Taiwan has been pursuing what's known as transitional justice. It's been pardoning ex-political prisoners, compensating victims, redistributing ill-gotten gains, and removing signs and symbols of the authoritarian past. But activists here say the government is not moving fast enough. Behind them is the country's largest monument to Chiang, the man they believe is responsible for intense suffering. They say traces of Taiwan's authoritarian past, like this one, must go.
这个威权的铜像，它过去其实是屠杀了很多台湾人，而且它是不应该用这种方式被供养在这里，而且我们觉得转型正义没有完成，我们就不是一个民主的国家。
Chiang Kai-shek's legacy has long been a controversial subject in Taiwan. While the people gathered here see him as a dictator, others view him as a strong leader who helped Taiwan keep communist China at bay and grew the country's economy. Many people are against removing statues of Chiang. Demonstrations like this one are a stark reminder of Taiwan's complicated history and of the conflicting ideas about how to remember it. Sam Hui, Rick Lowett and Joseph Wu for TaiwanPlus.
The streets of India's capital have undergone a mass cleanup ahead of a meeting this week of leaders from the world's richest nations. But not everyone is happy with the changes. Stash Butler reports from New Delhi.
Music, flashing lights and sparkling streets. New Delhi is a transformed city. It's an effort by India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to pull out all the stops as host of this week's G20 Summit. The price tag of $120 million, bright new murals cover city walls, flowers and plants line roadsides, and new parks have sprung up across the city.
So it's a time for India to highlight itself in front of the world, and the government is doing a great job. They're cleaning the roads and they beautified the Pragati Maidan where the whole show is going to happen. So I'm feeling great about it. It's a proud moment for being an Indian.
But street vendors and people living in the city's shanty towns say the cleanup has erased their livelihoods. Since January, hundreds of houses and street stalls have been demolished, displacing nearly 300,000 people. At least 25 neighbourhoods and multiple night shelters have been razed and turned into parks. The government says the people who've lost their homes were living illegally on government land. Some tried to fight their eviction notices, but failed.
हमारे बड़े बुजुर्गों ने 100 साल यहाँ पे बिताए हैं और प्रूफ कर रहे हैं कि हम यहाँ पर बैठे हैं, लेकिन आज पुलिस का कहना ये है कि आप लोगों के पास 2015 से पहले के प्रूफ नहीं है, इसलिए आप लोगों को हटाया जा रहा है, जबकि सबके.
The two-day summit will take place in a huge newly built exhibition centre at the heart of the capital. The summit's bringing together leaders from across the world to discuss issues such as climate change, war and poverty. But without providing alternative accommodation for people removed from their homes, the problem of homelessness has been worsened. People now unable to sell their wares say they feel erased from society.
हालत तो देखो ये गंभीर है, हम लोगों की तो मजदूर आदमी रोज का खाना रोज का कमाना होता ही है हमारा तो. अब ये देखो साफ सफाई है हमारी अकेली नहीं है, पूरी दिल्ली में है ये.
Although the beautification project has created an atmosphere of excitement and anticipation here in New Delhi, activists say it's also pushed the people that the summit aims to serve further into the sidelines. Leon Lien, Laurel Stewart and Stash Butler in New Delhi for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching. Here's what happened. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Before we go, check out this small black goat catching waves in California. I'm Joyce. Take care and see you next time.